I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, hip flexors, glutes, hips, knees, ankles, spine. Thinking of all the freaking elements involved in a squat and a deadlift and all that stuff. And I'm just kind of like, bouncing ideas in my head as I always do when I come into the garage. In fact, I always freaking think about it. But I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about it all. And then it kind of occurs to me that I don't really have the answer. I don't really have the answer. And it might be quite a long time before I work out the answer. Something that I can wholeheartedly stand behind and say it's definitely the hip flexors. It feels like the hip flexors. But you watch. Something will come around the corner and will give me some other idea and I'll bounce to that idea and trial that, blah, 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 blah. Here we go again. Frankly, it's uncomfortable sitting next to me. Like, I am me and I'm with me. So I get annoyed thinking about these things, these ideas. I don't even know what sort of sickos you guys are who are sitting there listening to this insanity where I'm bouncing ideas back and forth. You guys must be sick just as me. You're sickos just as I am. You love this stuff. There's no way you would want to sit through this and think about these ideas over and over again. I don't know too many people I don't know anybody personally in my life who is willing to put up with this sort of insanity talk where I'm bouncing these ideas. My own wife is like, oh, you're onto it again, are you? You're onto something. There's a joke here about it. And the poor girl sits there and listens to me hours on end about how important hip flexors are, what the psoas is, and digestion and all sorts of stuff. It's the key component to our freaking being, and hip flexors everything. And it's ugly. It is ugly, ugly, ugly. And I can only imagine if you watched Ronaldo, Messi, Djokovic, you name, insert superstar of whatever sport, if you watch them train, it wouldn't be pretty either. If you watch Kevin Garnett back in the day, in his heyday in Timberwolves, when he was running sand dunes, I remember seeing that video, the dude's basically vomiting. Those are not some pleasant sights, man. Like, you do not want to see KG throwing up. You don't want to see some of these ugly, behind-the-scenes moments where people are working it out. What I'm doing here is I'm telling you all the freaking nasty thoughts, all the conflicting ideas. I'm bouncing these ideas off you. Usually we don't see this stuff. Usually people don't tell you stuff, the working out. I'm not a mathematician at all, man, but some of these problems, that smart people try and solve, they have like 50, 60, 100 pages working out. Who the hell wants to sit through that? If you're not a maths buff either, like if you're into maths and times and division and all that fancy stuff that look at me, the mathematicians talking about maths. If you're into that sort of stuff, you're gonna want to listen to it. But I'm sitting here right now and like these ideas are just literally bashing my skull to a pulp. And I'm sick like that. I actually enjoy that. I'm sick of it, but I enjoy it. Work that out. That's a masochist. Definition of a masochist. Dude's crashing his skull onto a brick wall and enjoying it. I don't know any other person that's going to put up with this type of long process of working out, this type of struggle to get somewhere. I can't remember who said this, but I heard somebody describe weightlifting, periodization, training. It's like being lost in a cave. There's no light anywhere. And you are trying to find your way out. It's something along those lines. You don't even have a torch. You're just there like feeling the walls. That's kind of how it is. You are in darkness. That's kind of how it feels. Literally, you are going by feeling. I don't know. That popped into my head. I don't know who came up with this. If one of you guys have heard the same quote from somebody, it's like a cave and you are there without a light trying to get out. That's exactly how it feels. The trick with the body is that it's not a machine. You can't just replace the differential and voila. You can't just replace the clutch and voila. There's so many freaking involved parts. There's like main hip internal rotators, but there's also other ones. The glute medius does hip internal rotation, and there's a portion of it that does external rotation, and screw that guy, man. How can you be on two teams, man? God, that's annoying. But it's true. Looked it up. One of you guys said it. It depends on what part of the damn muscle. Why is it called the same muscle then? Man, like it should be like glute precipice or something. I don't know. There's maximus, medius, minimus. Why isn't there like a grandius or something like that? Just give him another name, man. He's not part of that team. Oh man, so annoying. Pisses me off. Guys like me sit there like, smashing our skulls against the wall. Anyway, today I've come in and I wanted to get 180 for a whole bunch of sets. And as is the case, I spent way too much time trying to like diagnose the hip flexors and whatnot. So I started off with bench leg raises with a 6 kilo kettlebell. And then I went on to marching and I was like thinking about this. And in between these things, I was doing squats and feeling how it feels. And then eventually I went into hamstring curls and I was trying to think about that. I was just basically playing around. The kids have gone to school, wife's gone to work. So I'm home alone, man. And what am I going to do? Sit and freaking watch NBA or watch Netflix? Come out here and freaking smash my skull against the wall. Why not? That's what masochists do. Anyway, so I hit my top end strength today. I ended up only getting 180 for 4 sets of 5. I was kind of pissed off with that. I couldn't get 7, whatever. And so then all of those sets were just too slow, man. I don't know. What's this one? A 180. It just looks slow and I just look unsure of myself. I don't have that explosion, that poppiness about me at all. So I did 4 sets of 5 of that, and then I decided to drop the weight, a plate, and left 140 on the bar, and I did 3 sets of 10 with that. And that basically spent me, and I'm basically barely sitting here right now. My legs are jelly, everything's jelly, my brain's jelly, my skull's bleeding. I'm just wrecked. Mentally, emotionally, physically, everything's wrecked. It's one thing just to freaking, do the training. The other thing is actually like working it out. It's just a different thing. Actually, I'll tell you guys this because it just popped into my mind. That song, I Took a Pill in Ibiza. Something popped up on my feed the other day where Mike Posner, I think that's how you say his name, the fellow that wrote that song, there was a bit of a story about that. He was explaining, it was one of these interviews, one of these podcasts, and he basically explained how he came about the song. It's actually a really sad song. It's an acoustic song that he wrote when he was in a bit of a dark spot in his life. He was quite sad and whatnot. And the hit that we know, Took a Pill in Ibiza, a whole bunch of DJs got together, I think in Sweden, and basically remixed the hell out of that song. And I think there's like 1.3 billion listens on YouTube from that song. But he talks about how it's difficult to come up with art. It's very difficult to come up with some of these answers. And I turned to my wife and I said, isn't it special when you know the background story of something, when you know that this guy wrote the song and he's singing it? Like he basically created this. There's energy behind the meaning of this thing. It's a lot different than other people who are incredible singers, right? But they don't actually write the songs. And so they might sing the hell out of it, really, emotional and everything about it. But when you know that person didn't actually create this thing from scratch, it carries a lesser energy about it. Every time I listen to that song now, I Took a Pill in Ibiza, I think of those moments that he described where he was emotionally, spiritually and all that. There's like weight behind it now. The same kind of token, I'm like that with weightlifting. I'm trying to come up with the process. I'm not just executing somebody's plan. I'm not just singing somebody's songs. I'm actually writing the song and then thinking about singing it. And that to me, it's very, very difficult because you're burning the candle on both ends. But it's so fulfilling. When you end up getting a hit like that, it's a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. And I thought Mike Posner's story about that song was, quite special. And we all know, there's rappers in the game who don't even write that stuff. And it's kind of like when you learn that, you're like, that's great, man. Like, it's just different. Like old school rap used to be different, man. These dudes were like on the street. These dudes were basically poets and writing about their experience, and they're rapping it. They're telling us a story. But when a guy comes out of Harvard with 50 PhDs and sits down and sings somebody's song, it's like, yeah, you're really good at singing, man, but there's no emotion there. And when you learn that about some of these rappers, it's kind of like, man, what is this, man? This is not even. It's not what this is about. But anyway, this is why I feel wrecked right now. Just absolutely feel spent. But these sets of 10 at the end moved really well. I was quite happy with how they moved. I'm thinking about now actually finishing some of these sessions, these heavy squat sessions with some lightweight. This is not lightweight, but I'm doing it for set of 10. It ends the session in a positive note. I've said this in the past. Joints like volume. Joints like blood, and the more reps you do, the more blood there is. So today I did 30 reps with 140, 3 sets of 10, and then did 20 reps rather. I'm talking about reps now. 20 reps. I'm spent mentally. I can hardly talk. So I did 20 reps with 4 sets of 5, 180, and I did 3 sets of 10 with 140. So it's a lot of reps. That's 50 reps of meaningful weight. But that's where I'm at right now. Just absolutely spent. Tomorrow is another day. Yesterday I did some hip flexes as well. Today I'm doing hip flexes as well. Yesterday I didn't really lie. I did like the same thing, lying on the bench, single leg kind of raise. Today I loaded them up, and by the time I even got to the squat I was exhausted. That's why I kind of 140. I'm just thinking about the 140. Why it moved so poorly. 140 just looks like I look confident under that bar. Anyway, I can't stop my brain from thinking. As I'm trying to think what to tell you guys about all this stuff, my brain's on fire in the background about all of this. But anyway, I've got some names to mention for Patreon. There's been a couple of names come on. A fella by the name of Kerem Boztey, and somebody with an interesting name, Djuric, but there's 5 U's inside, so Djuric. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you always. Means a lot to me. I think now there's 3 full pages of people. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I'll quickly also tell you something that I haven't really talked about in a while. I was hoping to get all of this organized a lot sooner than it's happening, but a while back, I made a video about, it was titled Fighting Cancer Together. Ended up being quite an emotional video for me, unexpectedly. I wasn't planning to freaking get emotional on the screen. But in that video, I said that all the proceeds that I make out of the merch that I sell, I'm going to forward it, I'm going to donate it to charity. I have made several contacts with the charity that I wanted to get involved with. And I also mentioned that charity on that video, Cancer Council. It's a Australian, I guess, organization. So by the time the money all kind of came into my account, it was the new year. And so I think it was early new year, January, like 4 or 5 or something like this. I contacted them, and the lady was really pleased with me, and it was really exciting. Made some plans. She said she was going to call me back. And then literally a week after that, the city that I live in, Adelaide, South Australia, the state that I live in, we opened our borders. And so the following week, 2, 3 weeks, month, I guess, the COVID cases here blew up. This is why you don't see me in the gym anymore. This is why it's all at home. There's several thousands of cases every single day, which is quite a lot for a city that's only 1 million people. So there's, all sorts of stuff happening, blah, 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 blah. I called them again today and I said, look, what's happening? And she said, look, we can't do anything. We don't let any public inside. What I was asking for is basically just an opportunity to, go inside, maybe take some photos with somebody, maybe hand over a check or something like this, just so I can catch this and make a video out of it. I think that would mean a lot to me, and certainly would mean a lot to you guys all of you guys who have contributed to the cause. I didn't want to just, transfer the money over. I wanted some memories. I wanted to meet somebody. I actually asked for a bit of a plaque, like one of those print out cardboards. I'm willing to pay for that, whatever. My name and the charity. And one of my biggest concerns, as I said in that video, is authenticity. I wanted to make sure that you guys know that every dollar that you guys sent me is going to go into charity. And so I've already taken pictures, screenshots of all the pages on Spreadshirt, the company that I use for the merch. So you guys can see all of that. You can see the money that I've gotten, and you'll see where the money's gone and all that. So that was my biggest concern, because I know there's a lot of crap out there where people say, I'm going to donate to charity, and the next thing you know, they're rolling in a Ferrari. That stuff sickens me to the bone. So Anyway, I'm trying in the background. It's just COVID is slowing all this down. But I'm looking forward to that video. It's going to be one of my proudest moments, definitely, in my life. Anyway, guys, appreciate you all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.